Hi, this is Arnav from Boolean. Today I am going to discuss one interesting topic that I have noticed recently. Before I show you the reason of or application of this example, first see this interesting scenario. Okay, so this is a very small project. For example, I am using this. We have three classes: application.java, errorcode.java, and errorcodes.java. Okay, if you look into the errorcode.java, we have only two non-static properties or variables, attributes, whatever. So what are these? Code and message. Okay, those are two non-static properties. Now as these are private, to access this from outside of this class, we need the getters and setters. Okay, so I have created this getter and setters, you can see. And if you want to check really these are set or not values, that's why I have taken the toString also. Okay, I have overridden the toString. Now go to the error codes. In the error codes, it is also very simple class. What is it? It is nothing but just storing multiple error code class. Now in case it needs to store some multiple data, what data type we use in Java, basically it is any type of collection. Here for example I have taken only list. Okay, list. Now it is what? List of error code. And the non-static property, again it is private and the name is error codes. Okay, plural. Now here also we have the getter and setter, and I have overridden the toString. Now just simple, if you want to use or if you want to create one error codes class, what will you do? First of all, you need one error code, at least one error code. Otherwise, in the error codes class, there will be nothing, empty. So I just want to create one simple error code. You can see it. Just created it by using new. Then I am using the setter methods to set two non-static properties. Okay. Now this error code is ready. Okay. Now one error codes object is created. Then now what I have to do? Now it is actually taking what? List of object, list of error code. That's why I need to convert this single error code into one list object. Better to say I need one list object. Inside that list object, I must have this error code, a single object. Now that's why Java 9 provides this op list class. Actually list is an interface. Inside that, op is the static method. Okay, so by using this op, internally you can pass any number of objects. It will convert it into an immutable list object, that you know. Okay, otherwise simply understand this. It is just used to convert any number of objects into list object. Now that list object internally I have provided into the setter method. Okay, now every time I am creating the error code, you can see we are depending on what? Setter method, because obviously this is a creation operation, so setter method is useful. Fine. Now just for testing purpose I am printing this, and if I execute this, you can see it is working fine. Yeah, so we have error codes inside that in a single error code that is exist. Okay, so it is working fine. But now what will happen if I don't give you the setter method for this error codes? Just pause this video and think, can you achieve the same approach, the same thing without the setter method? I think you have noticed there is a difference in the getter method. Okay, earlier whatever the getter methods were there, that was what? Simply returning the non-static value. Okay, non-static property, simply returning that. But here it is not simply returning. Before that it is processing also. Some processing logic is written. What is that? The thing is, if error code is null, that means obviously for the first time you are using this getter method, then non-static variable by default is having null value in case of it is non-primitive. You know that. Now obviously list is non-primitive, so by default it is having null value. So error code is obviously null for the first time. Then what will it do? It will initialize it. Okay, so error codes will be initialized by one simple empty array list object. Now that it will return. Okay, now what will happen? Earlier, if you use, that means if we don't have this, then what will happen? If we don't have this logic, line number 11 to 13, then it will simply return that null. But as we have this, it will return this internal error codes. Now if you use the getter instead of the setter, okay, so error codes dot get error codes. Now what will you receive? You are actually receiving the codes object. Okay, so it is list of error code and codes object. Now here internally, that means codes, this reference variable is internally actually referring to that same error codes internal variable. Now for simplicity, I can do what? Clear. That means if I assume there is available some garbage value, so for simplicity, for precaution, what we can do? We can clear. Otherwise, you can ignore this also. What it will do? It will clear that list. Okay. Then simply codes dot add and add this error code object. Understood? Earlier, what we have done? We have converted this error code into the list object, and this list object is again passed by using the setter method, but now we have that internal object, okay, list internal object. That's why directly I can add it there. Understood? Now if you execute this, obviously we are expecting the same result. Okay, see, yes, I want to save it. Yes, you can see exactly same response. Okay, now just understand what happened visually. Okay, so this is the situation. We have one error codes class. Inside this we have error codes, that is non-static property, and initial it is null, you know. Now whenever you are triggering this getter method, okay, what is happening? It is actually initializing this. Okay, so now we have error codes, that is internally nothing but a array list, simple, okay, empty array list. So it is working as a bucket. Now whenever you are taking this by using getter, you are actually getting the same reference. Understood? Now whenever you are actually adding into these codes, what it is happening, it is actually going to add it into the error codes like this. Understood? Whenever you are adding like any object into the codes, it is actually getting added into the bucket that is available inside error codes class. Okay, now this is the scenario. Okay, so I hope this is interesting. Obviously I found it interesting. That means by using getter method you are actually storing some value. Okay, if interviewer is asking, is it possible? Yes, it is possible if initially you are doing the initialization task. Okay, that means if this initialization task is not there, then you cannot do that. Sometimes what happen, this logic can be written inside the constructor. Okay, you know, in every Java class, compiler provides default constructor. Okay, inside that it is just calling that super constructor. But if you want to provide your own logic, then what you can do, you can actually provide your own constructor. So constructor from super class. Okay, so this is the default constructor. Okay, that is given by compiler. Now instead of this default, what you can do, you can perform this task. Understood? You can perform this task. Sometimes if it is written, then also you will get the same behavior, because at that time also initialization is done before you are getting the result from the getter method. Okay, so this is a special scenario where you can actually store some value without using the setter method and by using getter method. Where is actually the application of this type of scenario? Now the application of this type of scenario is quite advanced. Okay, if you work in any SOAP service, SOAP service, then you know there are various types of service whenever you are communicating from server to server. Generally in client to server also it may happen, but generally whenever server to server communication is happening, there are several types of communication medium. Okay, it can be SOAP service, it can be REST service. So many types of services are there. Now, if it is SOAP service, then how to implement this in the Java? Now that implementation is actually required this knowledge. Okay, to implement that SOAP service, you need this type of knowledge. Now I don't want to make it so much complex. Just I want to provide a simple example. Whenever you are defining any SOAP service, now what will happen? Any endpoint, any particular URL you are triggering, then you have to give one XML definition for that data. Okay, your Java service is actually receiving some data from any endpoint, any other server, assume. Then what type of data it will receive, that you have to define by using XML. And that XML will look like this. Though it is simple, if you look into this just 1 or 2 times, it is simple. Okay, so it is sometimes a definition. Okay, XSD means XML schema definition. Okay, so you are actually defining. So first of all, you are defining the type error code. That will be complex because by default it will not be generated. That means not primitive. Okay, then inside sequence you are providing what are the non-static properties. So one code must be there, one message must be there. Those are string type, and code minimum occurrence is 0, that means it may be null, but a message minimum occurrence is 1, that means it must be present. Something like this. It is just taken for example. Okay, you can ignore this part. Now see, in the error codes is also another complex type. Inside this sequence we have only single element. That is what I have given one name, random, my error code, but the type is again error code. See, the type error code is already defined here by using name equal to this. Okay, now here I have taken what minimum occurs is equal to 1 and maximum occurs is equal to unbounded. That means any number of occurrence is possible for this element. Now how to achieve this by using Java? By using collection. Okay, so generally by default it will trigger list. Now in this type of scenario, whenever you define this type of XSD, internally it will convert it into the Java code. Okay, in SOAP service you will understand this very clearly. Later, if possible, I may give any other separate video for SOAP in depth. But the thing is, whenever you are going to use this in real time, at the time of after installation of your Maven application, it will convert this schema definition into one Java class. Now the corresponding Java class will look like this. That is the scenario. That's why I am telling all this. In that Java class that is generated by that any Maven service. What is Maven? Then again another topic. It is very much advanced level of the Java scenario. If you know, then fine. The thing is, whenever the schema will be converted into the Java class, it will not generate the setter. Okay, for element error code definition. For error code definition, obviously it will generate all getter setter. But whenever you are defining error codes where you are writing max occurs is equal to unbounded, it will not provide you the setter method. Okay, so the application of this scenario is quite complex, I know, but the scenario is interesting. Okay, any freshers is going to interview and asking some question, interviewer is asking some question like, can you provide the value by using getter? Now at that time you may think, how is it possible? Setter is used to set the value. By using getter, how to set the value? So this is a special type of situation where you can set the value by using getter. Okay, so I hope this is understood. Okay, if not, let me know in the comment. Okay, otherwise if you find this helpful, do share, like and subscribe our channel. Thank you.
तो लाइक और शेयर ठोक दीजिए महाकाल का